If you're a small business owner and someone could literally type what you do plus your city into Google and you're not showing up, I want you to take a breath and then listen to this episode, because it's not a personal failure. It's not because you're bad at business. It's not because you've missed some secret sauce or secret trip. It's an SEO and a systems problem. And most business owners are doing everything we're told to do. They built the website talking about what they do. They set up the Instagram. They maybe even created a Google listing or a Google business profile. And then you wait and nothing happens. We talked about this last episode too, and then they just assume that SEO doesn't work, or that Google hates them. That's not a thing. Or that you need to be on social media more. But here's what I want you to know right now and right away. Local SEO is one of the fastest ways to get found online when you understand what to do and what actually matters. And guess what matters most? This is a consistent message: clarity. So today I'm breaking down the 5 local SEO tips that I use with my clients, the same ones that I help have massage therapists, stylists, photographers, home organizers, and service providers show up when someone searches near me. Welcome to Coffee and Conversions, the podcast for millennial moms building something meaningful alongside real life. We're talking web design, SEO, Pinterest, and organic marketing, the behind-the-scenes systems to help your business get seen without taking over your life. I'm Julie, the founder of P&W Designs. I'm a Minnesota mom working full-time in corporate America, actually in finance, while growing my business on the side. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that growth doesn't come along from doing more. It comes from doing what actually works. Most of my business ideas start with coffee, and this podcast is all about strategies that actually convert, hence coffee and conversions. It's not about hustle for the sake of hustle, and it's not about pretty things that don't perform. So grab your coffee, pop in your headphones, and let's get into today's episode. So, what local SEO really is? Local SEO is Google trying to answer one question: who is the best option nearby? Google is not trying to trick you. It's trying to help you. It's trying to help the person searching. And when someone types massage near me, photographer in Edina, home organizer in Austin, Google looks for signals, and your job is to give Google clear signs about what you do, where you do it, and who you serve, and ultimately whether you're trustworthy. And here's the interesting part. Over the last couple of months, I've worked for a number of home organizers, and all 3 had one thing in common. When I went to their homepage, I had no idea where they were located. That's a huge red flag for local SEO. It's not good enough to have your Google business profile set up that tells people where you are. You need to also tell people where you are on your main website. Here's what most people don't think about. Local SEO is actually easier than national SEO, because you're not competing with the entire internet. You're only competing with those around you. You're competing within a radius. But if you never clearly tell Google where you are, then it can't place you anywhere. And when Google is confused, it skips you. And obviously I'm using Google synonymously with search because obviously they have the most search traffic still. So if you take nothing else from this episode, take this. Local SEO is clarity, not competition. So tip number 1 out of 5. Your Google business profile is ultimately your storefront. Now, it's obviously not your website, but we still need to talk about it. Your Google business profile is the first impression for most people. Before your website, before Instagram, before anything, most business owners treat it like a one-time setup. And this is like when you type into maps and find a business, or it's on the right-hand side on search. You fill it out once and it never gets touched again. And I want you to think about your storefront window. Or think about your Google business profile like a storefront window. If it's dusty, empty, outdated, or missing information, people will walk away. Your business profile should be alive. So here's what you need to do. Check your primary category, make sure it's still relevant, add services with descriptions, with keywords, upload photos regularly, post weekly updates, which I honestly am absolutely horrible at. Rewrite your business description using keywords, and get regular quality reviews. Yes, Google reads those updates. They matter. They influence rankings. They influence visibility. And here's the mindset shift. Your Google business profile is not just a listing, it's content. At least it's not content you have to babysit daily like other things, so that's good. But if you're overwhelmed, start here, because that is going to be your fastest local SEO win. So if you are not optimizing your Google profile, focus on that for this month. Tip number 2, location keywords are key. This is where I see a lot of clients fail. Almost every client I've worked with in the last year, and most of the websites I see launch without an SEO strategist, fail at this, and that's using your actual location in headers. Your website should clearly say what you do and where you do it. Not once, not hidden in the footer, not buried in the print, in your headers, in your copy, and in your page structure. I see this all the time. Again, unfortunately, there's a lot of commonalities. Beautiful websites that never mention location because their owner thinks it makes them look small, or they don't need to do it because Google will just figure it out, or they want to make sure they're not tying themselves down to one location. But again, it needs clarity more than cleverness. So if your website just says, I help women feel confident, Google has no idea where to put you. But if your site says color analysis services in Edina, Minnesota, now Google knows exactly what to do. And guess what? That client went from 0 traffic, and again, I'm talking about a specific client here. That client went from 0 organic traffic to now being in the top 5 listings for color analysis near me, color analysis Minnesota, and color analysis Twin Cities. She is now a top 5 business in the Twin Cities just by changing keywords. All because when I refreshed her website and took it from 1-page website to a 5-page website, we made sure to use her location on every single page in partnership with keywords, of course. I'm interrupting this episode because if you have Google Search Console and Google Analytics set up, but don't actually know what you're looking at or what it means, then this is for you. Or if you have a website, but the terms sound like Greek, then this is definitely for you. My SEO Tools Monitoring Guide walks you through step-by-step how to set up, connect, and most importantly, read your Google data so you can actually tell if your website is performing. No tech overwhelm, no vanity metrics. I show you exactly what to look for inside Google Search Console and Google Analytics, what those numbers mean, and how to use them to make smarter decisions without needing to be an SEO expert. If you want clarity instead of guessing, if you want instructions without having to ask your friend chat, then start here. You can grab the guide at bywdesigns.com/SEO-monitoring-tools or linked in the show notes. Now back to the show. So remember, if your site doesn't say where you are, you don't exist locally. So make sure that is in one of your key headers on each page. Tip number 3, here's where you get even more techie, is you can create a location page even if you're a mobile business. And this is another overlooked local SEO strategy, but also one that SEO agencies do wrong a lot. And that is creating a location page or several for cities you serve, because the dedicated page should tell you who you serve, where you are, what you offer, and why you're different. Even if you're mobile, even if you don't have a storefront, even if you work online but serve a local region. And it should include things like your service area, FAQs, internal links, reviews, clear copy. But here's what it shouldn't be, and this is what I see from SEO agencies all of the time, and it's gross. You shouldn't be duplicating content that already is on your site with just your city changed out. I took on a retainer client recently that had a West Coast SEO agency do this, and Google literally reads it as duplicate content and won't index it, which basically means she wasted her money. If you create location pages, they need to be truly unique to that area and unique to your site. Otherwise, just don't even waste your time. If you do it right, Google and AI will love it, and your customers love this because it answers questions before they even ask them. For example, though, I am a service provider online. Location isn't necessarily dependent for me, and I don't have one. Will I eventually make location pages? Maybe. But the commercial cleaning business, that absolutely should have location pages, as an example. So tip number 4 is reviews. Most people think of reviews just for credibility, which they are, but Google treats reviews like content and SEO authority as well. If someone writes best massage therapist in Spring Park, Google stores that information and that language becomes part of the authority. So when you ask for reviews, don't just say, can you leave a review? Ask for, what service did they receive? Where did they receive it? What problem was solved? Make sure to kind of prompt them on what their review should look like. And always respond to those reviews. Responses show activity. Activity shows trust. Trust increases visibility. So have a system where you request a review as your service has happy customers, and don't be afraid to follow up once. Oftentimes I feel like people just forget because their lives get so busy and don't realize how important they are to small businesses. You can't incentivize reviews, but you can personally ask, and that definitely goes a long way. Tip number 5 is technical setup is a foundation for local SEO. Again, this is the unsexy part that changes everything. You need Google Search Console and Google Analytics. You need a submitted sitemap and index pages and internal links and analytics tracking. And almost every web designer that doesn't specialize in SEO and just does basic SEO setup skips this part because it's not a part of their service. And if Google can't read your site, nothing else matters. If you want to imagine building a house without a foundation, that's like skipping this part. You can't optimize what you can't see. I said this in the last episode, but I will say it again. Download my SEO monitoring tools guide and follow the steps to ensure you have already set up your sitemap and it's submitted. So make sure to download that in the show notes. Okay. You don't have to do it all today, but if you want help deciding what to fix first, I encourage you to book a 1-hour strategy call with me. I'll look at your site, give you 3 to 5 action steps specific to your business. And if you want local SEO done right from the ground up, then my SEO foundations and implementation services is where it's at, because I build websites that look amazing, but also get found. Both are linked in my SEO services page and in the show notes. Submit an inquiry and we can talk to see if it's the right fit. You don't need more information. You just need a clear next step. So, local SEO can be slow. Every SEO can be slow, but it's also steady. And steady beats panic marketing every time, or, creating a reel every freaking day on Instagram. If you want to stop chasing algorithms and start building assets that work while you sleep, then this is where you start. Thank you for listening. If you have questions or have content ideas, please let me know. And this is Coffee and Conversions. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Coffee and Conversions. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate every single person who listens. If this episode helped you think differently about your business, I'd love if you left a rating and review or shared it with a friend who is running a business alongside you, because community is everything. It's the easiest way to help this podcast reach more women who want a strategy that actually works. You can find links, resources, and anything mentioned in today's episode in the show notes. For more tools, services, and behind-the-scenes strategy, head over to buypwdesigns.com. And if you want to peek into my real life, corporate job, mom life, running a business, and really just like the true me, you can find me at Instagram over at julie.pwdesigns, and I hang out there most days. Until next time, keep on building intentionally, and I will see you back here at Coffee and Conversions.